Hey, Arlen, how was Don't Breathe 2?
Oh God.
Here's the thing. I think I stopped watching it 20 minutes ago. I don't remember a fucking thing about it.
Except that douchebag dies.
It's exited my mind so fast.
Were there two Turkey Basters this time?
No.
he was double fisting it.
There were no Turkey Basters this time.
Did he set it and forget it?
No, so it's a weird film. Like, there's at least one dog death in the movie, and it's it's the only time where I was like, "Oh, I care about that dog, and I'm sad for that dog." Everybody else in this movie can fucking die. I don't give a shit. The dog was just being a dog.
Was it his Roddy from the first movie?
I think it is. So there are two dogs in the film. The second dog unharmed, completely fine. He's a good boy. Even when he's barking and being, chasing the blind man, very much like one of the dogs from Green Room. But he's still a good boy, regardless, and he survives. But the first dog gets taken out and avenged later on. But I just spent the entire movie being like, "Oh, okay, that's happening. I don't care. Do
you think any part of that is like, oh, we can like take stuff from John Wick?
Maybe
that's why that's in there.
So I have a theory about the movie, in that it's a very old school way of movie making. I don't think that this was a Don't Breathe sequel at first. I think that they made it a Don't Breathe sequel after the fact. Because nothing about it feels like a true sequel to Don't Breathe.
He's the hero in the second one, right?
Yeah, he's the hero in a
very
way.
Broad brush over of his. Hi, everybody, we're back again. I'm Connor. Eric's here. Arlen's here. Lou's here.
Yeah.
Hunter's still not here.
He's the lesser of the two evils, I guess. But I don't know. Like
they do a broad like erasure of like his like awful misdeeds from the first movie, and as far as I remember, they don't even bring them up.
No, they do. That's the thing. He brings them up though.
No.
Like at the very end of the movie, after he's been beat to shit and they've killed everybody, and it's just him and the little girl. He's like, "Don't come near me. I have killed and I have raped, and if you stay with me, you will become like me." And it's like, all right, so that's supposed to be like your redeeming moment or something, right? That's like you're like, I am accepting who I am and I will die and not turn you into me or whatever. It's like, okay, I still don't care. And then they do like, the classic, the bad guy isn't dead thing. And he comes up behind him and he stabs him. So that's how the blind man dies. He gets stabbed.
Is it kind of like a death wishy thing?
It kind of.
I feel like there's this weird attempt to bring us back to the 70s, 80s, like white guy with a gun savior thing that was like part of that era of film.
Yeah, it's definitely going that direction a little bit. The best way I can possibly describe it is, I've made this comparison before the movie came out. It's like Rambo 2, but if you smash Rambo 2 and the movie, the 2008 movie Rambo together, and like tried to make it really dark and gritty, and like they tried to have like this thing about like the darkness of humanity or whatever throughout the movie, and it's like how there are no good people. It's like a very nihilistic movie, except for this little girl who is like supposed to be pure or whatever, and not at all Masonic in any way. But it's just, I don't know. I was just so bored by it. And they try to make it so that the little girl is your main character. She is your POV person, like the girl from Evil Dead from the first Don't Breathe movie, where it's like you care about what that person is going through and what's happening to them. But you don't really care about her other side characters quite as much. But they didn't make it work. It doesn't really play out that way. She's put in peril so many times, and I just did not care at
Well, because
all.
that's the only way you can have him be your heroic character is that he's saving a
Do
little
you remember
girl.
what the
Mhm.
villains were? Because the villains are hilarious. Like,
The villains are organ thieves.
yeah,
Um,
they're
Yeah.
meth head organ
Yeah.
thieves.
They're
Yeah.
meth head organ thieves, and so the twist of the movie, I guess, is that they weren't trying to get her back because she's supposed to be the daughter of one of the main organ thieves and his meth cook wife. They're not trying to get her back because they want her back, you know.
They
And
want her
like,
gold.
yeah, they want her heart. I mean, they want her heart.
Wait.
Cartoonishly evil.
How old is this kid?
She is she's like 10 or 11 maybe,
Who the
and they
fuck
want
needs a
her
10-year-old's
heart.
heart?
They want her heart because the meth head wife, because of smoke and chemicals, her blood is poison and her heart is dying.
Yeah,
Or
but
her
a
heart-
10-year-old girl's
Wouldn't
heart.
work in an adult. It's too small.
Exactly. But she's the closest donor that they have apparently because I don't know.
They might
And
as,
want
they
her
might as well
heart.
just have the word metaphor in Comic Sans flashing at the bottom of the screen.
They might as well have
talk
like
about this.
Mortal Kombat, but it's just like, it's like toasty, but it's just like metaphor and then pop away.
Seriously, like, we must get this pure heart from this 10-year-old girl who is the product of turkey basting. Like,
Well, she's not. If I remember, she's the daughter of the two. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
so
the organ thieving
yeah.
meth heads, and he just
Oh,
how
yeah.
did he get her house is burning down, and then he saves her out of nowhere. He basically kidnaps her.
Yeah.
Like Arlen said,
Because he
kidnaps
likes
people
to
because he's in the
kidnap
mood.
people. Yeah, well, that's just what he does. He's just like, seems like a time to kidnap. I'm in a prime spot for kidnapping right now, so I'm just gonna do it.
How does he know he's in a prime spot? He
Haven't done her
can't see.
napping in a while.
He just knows, Lou. He's got Daredevil vision. Clearly,
What you don't realize is when you go blind, your sense of hearing, sense of taste, sense of touch improve. Also, strangely, when it's a good time to kidnap a child because of her pure heart.
Time for a nap.
I guess all those things would help in your basting techniques.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Jesus Christ! Wow.
You
Well,
also know how to throw a hammer at a sound. You just know that. That's just something that just happens. You can just do it. Yeah.
Stephen Lang deserves better.
I
He
remember reading the Wikipedia stub on this because there was no way in hell I was actually going to watch it. I'm like, huh, that sounds about as bad as I would expect it to be. And based on everything I read and what you've been saying, Arlen, yeah, I think you're exactly right. This sounds like a movie that wasn't originally supposed to be a sequel, and then they're just like, fuck, just plaster this on here.
Yeah. Somebody was like, let's get Stephen Lang as this character. And they were like, why don't we just make him his character from Don't Breathe? And nobody said no. And
Hey, here's the thing, Arlen, that's wrong. No one said, let's get Stephen Lang to play this character. Someone was like, we have a script. Well, how do we sell the script? Well, people like Don't Breathe. What if we just folded that in? And like, it's not like Stephen Lang's doing anything. Give him a call.
right.
He's not in the Avatar sequels.
I think Connor, with your disbelieving voice there, I think there are probably some people who liked it because it's so extreme, quote unquote. Like,
I liked it.
You mean that there are bad
people?
there are people,
and I'm like, this has jumped 11 billion sharks. Like,
yeah, well, no, I mean the first movie, Lou.
I'm saying
I like
there are
the first
people
movie
with bad takes out
until
there.
The Turkey Baster comes out, and then I'm like, this is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, yeah, I just didn't think it was very good.
Would you put Would you put that first movie in like the torture porn genre, like a Hostel?
No, it's
exploitation.
I would call it exploitation.
It's like Texas Chainsaw modern era.
Kind of. The biggest.
I say this as someone who's not seen the original because I have no desire to.
No, I would actually call it Hitchcockian in the politest way, it being very nice to the movie. Like it's going for that same kind of tension, and it's not really a horror movie. it's just more like really well done sequences. But my problem with the movie is at no point did I really care about anybody, and I care, and it relies a lot on the fact that I already really enjoyed Jane Levy at that point going into the movie from Evil Dead. So like that's the only real anchor I had into the movie.
Oh, she's great. I think I was one
yeah.
of 2 people that watched a TV show she was on.
I think I tried that show and it was good. She's great. It
was an interesting idea of a sitcom, but
she has an excellent face for horror because she has these big, giant, expressive eyes.
Well, she's
the camera
and not to demean her, she's Emma Stone light.
Yes, very much so.
Same flavor.
They're very similar looking, like slight redheads, big eyes. Emma Stone's literally in a movie called Big Eyes or some shit like that. Or is that right? No, that's the other redhead. That's Amy Adams.
That was Amy Adams.
She's in
I get my beautiful gingers mixed up. So.
That's. I mean, there's so many of them now. So yeah.
Jessica Chastain.
When you say the sitcom she was on, are you talking about the one that was like on, I think, ABC Family? That they'd moved to hell or something like that, and it was supposed to be a sitcom, or the newer one that had like a whole bunch of musical breaks in it.
I don't remember. It was the one where her and her
absolutely alien to me. I have no idea.
It was something with her and her dad, and I can't remember the guy who was her dad, but he was on Law and Order for a bit. He was like an actor in the 90s. I don't think it was ABC Family. I think it was just ABC.
I think it was just ABC, but it might have moved to ABC Family. That happened quite a bit.
I think it was
still
like
a thing anymore, or was it Freeform?
It's Freeform. My wife watches a lot of shows on that network.
Mm-hmm. We've watched shows from that, all of us.
We did.
Cloak and Dagger.
Man, what the fuck happened to that show?
I wanted to say Hawk and Dove.
That show, I think it lasted 2 seasons, which is admittedly longer than I ever would have expected a Cloak and Dagger show to last.
Really? It lasted that long? Okay.
Dude, Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. just ended like a year ago.
Now that continues to be shocking to me because I thought that show ended like 3 years ago at
Suburgatory. That was the name of the show she was on.
Yeah, I just found it a minute ago. Yeah.
I've actually seen the musical one. It's charming. I just don't care for musicals all that much. So like,
this show had a sick ass cast. Like, I'm looking here: Anna Gasteyer, Chris Cardinal, Alan Tudyk.
Mm-hmm.
Man, Alan Tudyk will show up in anything.
I forgot because I was watching my classes 42. I forgot he's in that movie, and I forgot what he does in that movie.
I don't.
He is the manager of the Phillies that says the N-word maybe 55 plus times. That is on historic record.
That's insane. But that makes sense for Philly.
Yeah, it's like that. You know when they go like, "Hey, batter," but he does not say batter.
Oh no!
I know Resident Alien got like renewed for like what, 3rd season?
Something like that. Yeah, I know sci-fi is literally sci-fi to me at this point, like you said earlier, because I have no idea what's happening with that show or that channel. Like I only know when I see an ad on YouTube, I'm like, huh. So that's still around.
That's the only show where I'm like, oh, that's a guy I like, but like I kept getting bombarded with ads for what was it, Winona Earp for a long time, and I was like, this looks like fucking trash.
Wait,
apparently that was actually relatively popular because I remember hearing something about that getting like either renewed or it got like a TV movie to finish out the show.
Well, that one in the Van Helsing show where it's Van Helsing, but Van Helsing's a girl. Those lasted for like not 10 seasons, but like.
And I'm pretty sure
a long time.
I feel like that Van Helsing show was supposed to be a spinoff from that shitty movie originally.
Was it?
And I think Hugh Jackman was originally supposed to appear in an episode.
Huh.
I swear to God, this is real.
Huh.
Also, I'm looking at Alan Tudyk's IMDb.
Well, I'm in the blind here to go back to our initial topic.
I am shocked. He works so fucking much.
Yeah, he's a working actor. He takes jobs because he wants to work.
he plays the voice of one of the birds in Encanto. I'm like, why would he? Oh yeah, he's the fucking rooster also in Moana. Of course, they put him as a toucan. And he's also in like horribly shitty cartoon that I tried to watch in Mod. He's Arcade in MODOK.
No,
I watched one
DC
episode of that
though,
show
because I think in a few years he was Green Arrow multiple times. He was Mr. Nobody in Doom Patrol, and he was Joker in Harley Quinn.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. God, what was the
He's
cartoon?
Joker and
MODOK.
Clayface in Harley Quinn.
Well, that's right. He is Clayface.
But yeah, mentioning MODOK, like, yeah, Lou, I didn't even make it through an episode. I got about halfway in and was like,
nope.
This is aggressively not for me.
I forgot MODOK even happened.
Oh, there's so many shows. Like, there's that weird. It's that weird. Like, there was like 6 months where they were like, "Oh, we're going to do a whole bunch of stuff on Hulu," and like all these cartoons. And I think they made 2, and it was MODOK and Hitmonkey.
Yeah.
And the other 2 got canceled, which was Howard the Duck, which was the Kevin Smith one,
and Squirrel Girl, I think.
Yeah, which was another comedian's, and those are gone.
Yeah.
And then they made Hellstrom, which I think Arlen's literally the only person to have clicked on that.
I think I watched at least half of that show somehow.
I'm sorry.
Well, here's the thing. I need background noise sometimes.
That doesn't count as watching.
Exactly. So
it counts for Hulu, but not for you.
Exactly. I was building a bed at the time. I was very confused by the Allen wrench pictures somehow. I was like, this makes no sense. I don't understand this.
And you were like, please, son of the devil, through your TV show, help me build this bed.
Exactly.
Christ.
So yeah, that happened. But yeah, I caught bits of it. It was not good.
I can't believe this. I'm shocked.
Was not,
speaking of,
it was not
Marvel,
well made.
I had a thought recently about the MCU. Does this phase of the MCU feel fucking weird to you guys?
It feels weird because I don't think we're supposed to be paying attention to every piece of it.
Well, I think they've said they're not doing another overarching story.
No.
Which feels like a lie, also.
I think that...
Yeah, because, like, what is Kang? Like,
that's what I'm saying. I feel like we're working towards Kang from every single angle.
Kang matters for the stories that are going to matter for Kang. This is firmly what I think they're doing. They are doing multiple stories at the same time. And if you want to pay attention to one story, you just pay attention to the ones that follow that story. So Kang is going to touch about 1/6 of the MCU going forward. And if you just want to pay attention to that 1/6, go for it. And I guarantee you, we're going to start seeing like playlists on Disney Plus. Like, this is the Kang line. This is the Midnight Suns stuff. This is space or whatever. This is what's going on. These are what you need to watch. You need to watch the Eternals and Guardians and so on and so forth.
Yeah, and well, the space thing was the first one we heard about years ago because Gunn was supposed to basically be Fahey of space.
Yep.
Yeah, and then Disney shot themselves in the foot. Yeah, I mean, I could kind of see that happening, Arlen, and I think that would make the most sense for them to like evolve because they can't do the same playlist they did last time. They have to. I think they've
said there's like 3 or 4 levels. It's like cosmic.
I don't think they've directly said that though. I think they've
maybe it was like
from the cosmic.
I mean,
I think it maybe was hinted as like. Because like I feel like they've kind of set up like Spider-Man is like the main guy of the street.
Well, I don't know though. I'm kind of wondering if they're not being so quick to actually formally announce it because they don't own Spider-Man.
I think that's probably true. Spider-Man exists on shaky ground, so they're never going to say this is what's going on with Spider-Man.
And there's a reason why we're getting all these young heroes.
Yeah. No, well, I mean, you've been saying that forever.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I think that there's certain things that are absolutely happening. I think Young Avengers and Thunderbolts are absolutely happening.
Oh, yeah. I 100% agree.
I think we're going to get a lot of information about that in Cap 4. I think Cat 4 is going to put a lot of stuff in perspective. Cat 4 and Secret Invasion. Those are the two places where like we're going to get a lot of understanding on what's going on Earth and where that.
I still am so confused by the idea of a Secret Invasion movie. Like
it's a show.
It's not a movie. It's a show.
Yeah. What is it going to be like? Meet the Skrulls? Like how are you doing that as a movie?
It's gonna be across a bunch of different time periods because I think from what I had read, there was scenes, or not scenes, but people saw like Sam Jackson with both of his eyes filming stuff.
Okay.
So, and I don't know if it's supposed to be an alternate universe or what, and that might be what the underlying theme is, Connor, for this season of the Marvel films, I guess, or whatever you want to call it, like, is multiverse connections.
Yeah,
and I could see
that's all good and dandy, and that's what I wanted. But like at the same time, I think about like Cat and Winter Soldier, and I think about like Loki, WandaVision, and all this other stuff that's come out, Moon Knight, and like all this stuff that's come out in the past few years, and like none of it feels very connected, and also it feels very like very one and done.
Well, I don't agree because I feel like Loki, Spider-Man, WandaVision, and Doctor Strange feel like
that stuff.
one
Yeah,
thing.
but like I think about Cat and Winter Soldier, I'm like, when's the next time we're gonna fucking see John Walker?
No, well, I feel like Captain Winter Soldier connects with Hawkeye.
I think that they've been, and I don't mean this in a negative way, I think that they have been treading water. And I think they've been intentionally treading water because they don't know what they're doing. And
they're
I think
character developing.
Like Feige said like a week ago or days ago that they're doing like a retreat to plan the next 10 years, which tells me that any plans that they've had so far have been nebulous. They're feeling it out. They're trying to figure out what they're doing, who is on the ride going forward and who isn't. Which actors are going to be problems because of their perspectives on certain
their shitheadedness. Like what the fuck are we gonna do with the Black Panther?
And also,
problem?
They didn't know about Chadwick's death, but
they
couldn't have anticipated that.
So another thing from watching 42.
Also, to take into mind with the shows, COVID fucked a lot of that up.
Yeah, I've taken that into account because all this shit was supposed to be like a year earlier, wasn't it?
And yes, it was.
Yeah, and Doctor Strange was supposed to come out right after WandaVision finished.
Yeah.
And I think any other like films that were going to be connected to these shows, like Captain America 4 and whatnot, they expected to be much further along before the shows dropped. But they got to a point where it's like, well, fuck, we've got these shows, but COVID has jumped up again. We need to drop them. We can't just hold on to them because we're losing money on Disney Plus.
Because there are two big shows with maybe two of the bigger characters that we haven't, like, of the shows in Ms. Marvel, which is going to lead into a movie, and She-Hulk's a pretty big fucking character to do something with as a show.
Wait, who's a pretty big character? What was that second one?
Ms. Marvel and She-Hulk.
Oh, She-Hulk, yeah.
She-Hulk can open up a whole lot of interesting things of where they're going with, because the Hulks are so...
She could, but this is taking inspiration from the Dan Slott run, and that's gonna be a little bit more lighthearted. I mean, I'm sure there's still gonna be threads, but I think it's not gonna be as heavy as you want it to be.
Well, I'm saying I feel like we could get some more Thunderbolt teases from that show.
Oh yeah, that's a possibility.
Yeah, we've seen Abomination still running around. Like, we've never really closed the loop on the leader.
Yeah, but I don't know.
I can tell you that. Right now.
I don't think they're gonna touch on the leader unless it's for comedic reasons in She-Hulk. Like, I think we're gonna get some of those things that you wanted to see from the Edward Norton Incredible Hulk, but it's gonna be played for yucks. That's my opinion, at least. I mean, I'm sure there's gonna be serious aspects to it, but I think that's gonna be mostly the Titania, however you pronounce her name, storyline that's going to be going
Tatiana? On. Or wait, are you talking about the character
Yeah, the character.
The actress, I think it's Tatiana.
Or the actress Tatiana.
Well, no, I'm talking about the character that's going to be.
It is very confusing in that show.
Yeah, I didn't even think about that. But yeah, I mean, that's where I think She-Hulk is going to go.
Tatiana, was she part of Thunderbolts at some point?
Not the run that would
Not the
be.
Zemo team, right?
No, maybe she was. I don't know.
The
'cause
Zemo team had some weird ass members because they had swordsmen, which we've seen in the TV show.
Yeah, that's true.
That's the wrong swordsman.
Yeah, it was.
They had the Nazi swordsmen
Okay.
that were mutants on the Zemo team.
Oh, the
shithead Fenrir. They had the brother. Yeah.
Okay. That was later. That was on the Warren Ellis run.
Yeah, that's the run I'm thinking of for the Thunderbolts,
Okay.
where it's like the government team.
Yeah. Yeah.
Which is what I feel like they would move towards.
When Osborn was in charge of them?
Yes.
Yeah, no, I could see them more doing the stuff that happened during the Bendis run, where it's heroes that people already know, but they're evil.
Well, pretty much it's weird, like we know that Osborn doesn't exist in this universe.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's a weird thing to like.
Well,
have
Oscorp doesn't, but there could be a Norman Osborn out there that we haven't met yet.
It's just a normal guy.
Yeah,
yeah, probably.
I'm a bit of a house husband myself, Peter.
a bit of a regular guy myself.
I mean,
he's just out.
So, we were having a discussion before we started recording about, to very summarize and remove a lot of context. Kevin Feige likes to do things whether he can do them properly or not. He'll just do it. He'll just be like, no, we're adapting that. It doesn't matter if we don't have the characters that you would associate with that storyline. We're doing it, and we're going to do it extremely well. So Norman Osborn, and specifically him being, the perpetrator of things that go on, doesn't really matter all that much.
Yeah, they could use a different villain.
Yeah, like whoever Feige,
Justin Hammer.
Let's do it.
Let's bring back Sam Rockwell.
I've made this comparison many times. They couldn't use Inhumans. Feige didn't feel right about it, so they put in the Eternals, and yeah.
And that was a movie.
I still haven't seen Eternals.
Carve out as much of your day as you would for the Batman.
I enjoyed Eternals.
It's good. It is just it has pacing problems for me.
It does.
It does.
I keep
but
trying to muster up the energy to say I watch it. There's something about it that I find so repelling and uninteresting that I'm like, I can't do it.
There are scenes in that movie that can give you a very early taste of the scale that they're going to be able to pull off when Galactus shows up.
Yeah,
there's some amazing stuff in there.
Yeah, the shit that they're bringing up, I was like, oh, we're going here, aren't we? I think my biggest issue with that movie, and it is too Snydery for me, and I think that's to the detriment of those characters because they're fucking ridiculous characters, and they should have been in insane, colorful, dumb outfits and not the very muted tones that they're in. It's like we went backwards to me in the more realistic look and less in the Thor Ragnarok kind of fun thing, which I feel like you kind of have to do with insane space characters.
I don't know. I mean, that's a part of me. Sorry, Arlen. Part of me thinks that things seem rocky right now because they're going through growing pains because I feel like they're trying to mature as films. Like all of phase 1, 2, and 3, or 4 even, I guess, knew exactly what they were. And I feel like this phase, because of COVID, they've decided to be like, you know what, we're going to try some different things because we know people really want Marvel films.
Here's where I disagree. I feel like this feels more like phase 2, like the Age of Ultron era, where they knew that they were onto something, but they didn't going. They knew they could just do stuff.
Yeah, I don't agree with that.
No, I think
I think with having introduced Thanos at that point, they knew they were going, and so at that point was a waiting game. Here, there's no Thanos, it all feels very disjointed, and because I think there's no proverbial endgame, like there was last time. Like they're doing things like they're just trying things to see if it will work. Like Eternals
Right.
and TV shows and a fucking horror movie and Sam Raimi. It's like, let's see if this works. I'm
Yeah.
like, I like that you're doing that, but like at the same time, it's like it was never gonna feel the same way after Endgame, but now it feels even less so. Like there's a plan.
See,
But
and that reminds me of like an Ant-Man and some of those others.
Well, no, Arlen, you said you wanted to say something earlier, and
I've forgotten what it
sorry.
was.
Okay.
I have no
Yeah.
idea what I was saying.
yeah, like sorry, man. I know you're trying to jump in. That's why I was trying to get done with what I was saying real quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. Like I'm okay with this because I think it shows that Marvel knows they can't keep shoveling out the same stuff. And I mean, outside of what people say about Eternals, like I think everything has been spot on, and
Yeah.
I'm completely fine with it.
I mean,
Well-
jumping off of Eric's point, just real quick, like I like that they're willing to take chances, that they're willing to just like, because they could easily do the thing that a lot of people are saying that they're doing, and just keep on doing it over and over again. Keep on doing like the light comedy, very generic superhero action, and essentially the same story over and over again. And they're not doing that, which I appreciate. I appreciate that they're like, no, we'll do something very strange. We'll have a movie that ends like on a very bleak, nihilistic note, which is how I would describe Eternals. And like, I appreciate that aspect of it.
There's a maturity of this era of the MCU that I think people don't appreciate. Like,
right.
Especially if you look at like No Way Home, like that is an insanely kind of mature, like coming of age, and like the way that movie ends is very not complex, but like it is very emotionally kind of like there's a lot going on, and like you see it all. Thankfully, they have an actor who can pull that shit off.
Nobody's gonna believe that I'm the one making this parallel. But it reminds me somewhat of what people were saying when the two Deathly Hallows movies came out, which is that the movies grew up with the audience, and I feel like these
They
Spider-Man
100% did.
Yeah, these Spider-Man movies specifically, and the movies that Tom Holland Spider-Man were in, they've slowly grown up with the audience that was watching them. The people that were very young seeing Homecoming, they are, I don't know, like graduating high school now, going into college.
You go a little bit further back, that's still Civil War, like they're definitely in college at the minimum.
Yeah. Like, and they've matured with the character.
That was 2016.
And I think it, crazy. We're not far away from that being a decade ago, which is wild. Really kind of crazy. So yeah, like those people have kind of had like a mini version of that Harry Potter effect, where they've matured as people as the movies have gone on, and then just in general, people with Marvel movies.
Those people have only lived in a world where Harry Potter movies are shitty and their creators a terrible person.
Yeah, they have grown up with that, and for them, Marvel in general is their version of Harry Potter. There's like an 8-year-old who saw Iron Man.
I'll be right back. I change my laundry over.
Okay.
We're at the point where like there are people who are full-grown adults that have lived in a world where the MCU always existed.
Yeah, but like to my example of the 8-year-old, there's an 8-year-old who is now 22, I want to say, who has seen all the Marvel movies, watched them all, again, grew up with them and saw them mature in real time as they were going through all kinds of things, all kinds of moments in their life, and they have been drinking for a year now, and hopefully very responsibly.
You were actually really close, Arlen. It would be 23 because didn't Iron Man come out in 2007 or was it 2008?
I think it's 08.
Okay, if it was 08, then the other 22.
Still can't rent a car, but they can go drink at a bar.
Yes.
Yep.
It is like to kind of go to what we do know that's coming again is like I was just like flipping through my head like we have you said Captain America 4, Ms. Marvel, The Marvels, She-Hulk.
Well, Miss Marvel is going to be a show.
It's a show, and Marvels is a movie including her.
Yes. But I mean, if we're just going to talk about the movies and disconnect from the TV shows, but regardless, yeah.
Yeah. I just saw. Who's the? There's
Black
another.
Panther 2,
Black Panther 2
Guardians 3.
Is Armor Wars a show or a movie?
A show.
Yeah. So there's Armor Wars. There's Ironheart, which I don't even remember if it's a show or movie at this point.
But she's being introduced in Black Panther 2.
Panther 2.
Yeah. And she's going to be in Secret Invasion as well before Armor Wars even. If I'm remembering correctly. So like they're doing a lot of threads all at once. Yeah. And the thing that I've been saying to Eric and Hunter is I wouldn't be shocked if the threads do collide at various points. If you have like the villain in like the grand multiversal cosmic sense, like looking at what's going on in either the space realm or with the paranormal characters and like showing up to like have like a you do your thing and I'll do my thing and we don't have to and our things don't have to like undo each other or whatever. Like I wouldn't be shocked if that's the thing that happens. Absolutely.
Yeah, well, because like if you have Doctor Strange and like just looking at like if you didn't watch WandaVision, like you can still watch it, but it doesn't hit the way it does without that show. And I think it'll probably be the same way when we get to Ant-Man, which is like another movie, the third Ant-Man movie with other problem people in it. When it comes, because we know Kang is in that, and we don't know what Kang.
Yeah,
but
so this is interesting. There was a recent news story where they had switched the release dates of that movie and Marvel.
Yeah, they're trying to cut out Evangeline Lilly.
It's the first time. Well, they moved it earlier though, which makes me think that they're not cutting her out, and they're just like, "Fuck it, we're just gonna put it out earlier so that you can forget about her sooner." Maybe
I'm just gonna wait till a scene where her head is turned and be like, "Oh, I'm shot," and then it's
just really bad ADR.
Yeah. Well, you can just have her die while she's in the suit, so you can just have.
No, what they do is they're gonna kill her and they're gonna age down Michelle Pfeiffer.
Well, the other thing to do is she goes through like a dimensional barrier or portal or something, and
you kill her and you bring in a multiverse version of her played by a better actress.
Right, exactly. Well, she goes through the barrier and she just is a different actress, and you never address it. You never even bring it up.
She goes in, comes out as a different actress from Lost.
Right.
Or you just, or you have her character die from COVID.
Someone coughs on her.
I would love if she actually died from COVID on screen. And it was like this is a thing that you need to worry about.
Well, something I wanted to bring up with like, we're all trying to figure out exactly how they're going to do things going forward. Mm-hmm. I'm kind of wondering, and I mean, it would be very bold of them to choose to go this direction, but I kind of feel like with what you were saying, Arlen, like, it's not even that they're going to be like, oh, this is going to be, the Kang thread or whatever. It's going to be, all right, this is our magic stuff. Like, here's a few movies that are magic related that have tertiary connections. Although the newest Doctor Strange, outside of being, and this isn't spoiling anything, outside of being connected to WandaVision, it doesn't have any other connections to the MCU stuff. Like, that's it. Like, it doesn't hint at any of the other movies that have come out.
Well, besides Spider-Man.
Well, yeah, but I mean
that has to be. Yeah,
that's a given. Yeah. So I feel like they're gonna go down a path. They could go down a path where it's just like, okay, well, here's all our street level guys, and here's our magic stuff, and here's our space stuff, and then here's Captain America and whatever bigger like traditional superhero stuff comes from that.
Well, because we've heard no talks of another Avengers movie.
They've said they're not doing another Avengers movie.
They specifically said that.
So like that makes it so that like makes sense because like that we have cosmic, we have magic, we have street level, and we have like global. Yeah. And Cap is like a global
And I would say that there are subsections even within that. Like, I think there's going to be street level and there's magic, but in between that is what I'm calling
street level magic.
Yeah, well, I was going to say
Blaine.
Supernatural is what I'm going to call it.
Blade,
because it's street level because it's Blade and it's Black Knight and it's Moon Knight. It's magic, yes, but
I even say
they're not dealing with like big eternal stuff. They're not dealing with like monsters, entities from other dimensions. It's like
after that show, I don't know if Moon Knight's in that. I think he should be, but I don't. After now that show is done, I don't know.
Well, did any of you
that are I think will tell you for sure? Like they're doing Werewolf by Night. If Moon Knight is not in the Werewolf by Night movie that's going directly to Disney Plus, I think that answers that question of
like,
whether or not we're going to be seeing.
Do I like at this point? I'm like, is there going to be a scene of Moon Knight in Thor?
No,
probably not.
Like
no,
I don't know. Like are they going to mention Kushner or Khonshu in?
No.
Why wouldn't they?
The only place I could see them doing that would be Black Panther 2. That's the only place it would fit in.
Why wouldn't they mention both of them in Thor with what Thor is going to be about?
Because Thor is.
We see in that trailer. We see the Greek pantheon.
Thor is a remnant of the prior angle that MCU is going with. I feel like it's a holdover, I think. And that's not a bad thing because the Thor movies are fun, but they also can kind of stand on their own and not need to have a whole lot of connections to the rest of the MCU. Because I mean, the Hulk was in Ragnarok, but it other than him being in it and then the post credits, like it felt like its own thing.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, in the idea of like would I be shocked if there's a quick shot or look at there's a shot of Khonshu or I remember what it's called in Black Panther, the Land of the Elders, ancestral plane. Like if there's like a look at that, like if it's just like Gore looking at Earth. I mean, like of all the places, like this place has more than any other place I've been to.
I don't
Marvel's
know.
not afraid to do like very quick cutaways, and things that are just like they're very much just jokes. And I think that's about the extent you would get. Like something on the level of the fake out with what is his name? The Collector. The fake out about his cousin, right? Where he's like, we found your cousin, and you think it's gonna be fucking Benicio, and it's just some other random alien, and he like melts him. Something akin to that would make sense in context, and that would, play into the Gore of the God Butcher stuff. Maybe there's an alien who is calling himself one of the Egyptian gods, so you think that it is an Egyptian god from Moon Knight, but it's actually not. Just an example, just a very broad example of what I think that they might do to sort of satisfy what you're talking about, Lou. But they are not. That's the one thing that they're not afraid to do. They're not afraid to just be like, we're gonna play this. We're gonna pay this some lip service. We're not gonna be disrespectful with a capital D. But we're also not gonna treat this as seriously as you might expect. And that's they've always done that. I mean, look at Cap's shield in Iron Man 2 that Tony has him hand that here, and then he uses it as like a leveling thing, as like a so yeah.
Well, and something else with Moon Knight, I don't know if you'd seen if it was the showrunner or the director, an idea they'd had that got kiboshed. But originally for the show, they were going to try and say that all the stuff in the MCU was in Mark Spector's mind, and leave you hanging with like, well, is it or isn't it? You don't know. Like, and so that makes me think like Moon Knight might be done for a little while.
I can see that.
Which it seems crazy to me.
They went in a very specific direction in that show.
Yeah,
we could just talk about Moon Knight because
Connor, are you caught up on Moon Knight?
I'm just doing laundry, I think.
I guess he's not back. All right.
I did just want to say one thing real quick. On the it not being as connected and not being as part of the whole thread. Check this out.
Oh, they took him out. The Illuminati.
Oh no.
I agree with you guys. Like, I just think like I would not. All I'm saying is like I would not be shocked if they're just like if you just have like Gore's looking at Earth and just reading through a bunch of gods and like says, or like we see a shot of those things of like Black Panther or Moon, like in like a kind of shot. Not that they would actually show up in the movie.
Yeah, I don't know. That's the thing. I don't
see. And I would say like if it was pre-Loki, I would say I would be more with you. But after what they did with Loki, I don't know. Yeah, because they showed Kang, and I was like, all right, well, we all thought that's who it was going to be, but like we also never thought necessarily that like they would put that big of a character debuting on this show.
I don't know. It's
like in that trailer, because this goes back to the Thor trailer that dropped this week. Like we definitely for sure see the Greek pantheon. Like that is Zeus.
Yeah.
In a shot.
I think
which is also connected.
But that exactly. That might be a story that's being told in flashback too.
Oh, it could 100% could be. It could be a reason why they were like, oh, Pantheon dipped the fuck out and didn't want to get involved, which could say like the Egyptians, like other thing, and like that's the throwaway. That connects.
I don't know. I don't know though. Like I said, I don't know how much they're going to connect to Moon Knight because
I don't know. I just want Hercules in this.
Well, I want Hercules, yeah. But like with Moon Knight, I just as much as I was saying, like Oscar Isaac is too big an actor for them to just be like, thanks for your time. Like they might not have a choice. Like maybe that's what's going to happen here is that he just signed a contract to do 6 episodes and was like, I'm done.
Yeah. He doesn't feel like that guy though.
Well,
I don't know.
They might they could just recast him, and they'd have no reason to do this. And that actually allows me to, somewhat conveniently go back to the thing I was trying to say before real life interrupted me. But I was gonna say like this is the thing that happens in comics all the time. Things are written that don't really connect to anything, but they're just part of canon. They just are. And they never come back. You never see the characters again. They really don't have any effect on the larger universe, but they're technically part of it. And then years later, somebody's like, let's bring that back. Let's bring Fool Killer back or whatever. They're
God.
They're like, let's put Fool Killer in Jessica Jones season 3. Can we do that? Yes, we can. Yes, we can. Absolutely. He's actually great in Jessica Jones season 3. By the way, we never actually talked about that show on here. I don't think that season. I mean, but yeah, like this is something that happens in where these shows are birthed from all the time, and this is another thing I appreciate about the maturity that they are reaching, where it's like things can just not matter and never come back. And I really enjoy that. You know, I always have this, this gap, this gulch of conversation when I'm talking to people who aren't even like a little bit into the comics, or they don't have like a real interest in them, where it's like, yeah, but that's how it works in the comics all the time. And it's just how it is.
Well,
and
I think
like a real barrier to conversation sometimes where it's like, okay, well, I just accept that because that's how they do it, and I don't see any reason why that shouldn't be a thing that they do in the movies.
I think a more succinct way to put what you're trying to say is like it's like when there's a 6-issue run by a different writer. Sure. And it's just 6 issues, and it's like, but that was issues like 662 through 668. Yeah, but it doesn't matter. You can skip those if you don't want to read those. Like,
I mean, it gets even more esoteric, where it's like, well, this movie or this show, this show says that there is fate and that there is like a determined way that the world goes, and the person in this example is like, and I don't like that. I'm like, oh, okay, so you're not used to the feeling of knowing that a writer later on down the line will be like, fuck that. You know, an equivalent to, I don't know, Grant Morrison or Alan Moore will come along in this same universe and be like, no, there isn't a such thing as fate. Fate is bullshit. There's no such thing as fate. And
well, the thing is, they'll handle it well enough though that you're like, okay, that makes sense for why they were wrong. Like they will find some reason from like 20 years ago in that series that will explain why it was incorrect, but it was thought to be this way for a while.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, absolutely. And like, I welcome that. I also welcome the writer who tries to do it and messes it up again, because I accept that like some of the comics is going to bleed in, and I really enjoy how the few times where we've really seen comic stuff bleed in and how it's been handled, that's been really interesting, because they have the option in many places to do it better than how it was done in the comics, and to like fix mistakes that were made.
Well, they also have 70, 80 years of stories to pull the best aspects from. Like, yeah, this came out during a hokey time period, but this was a really cool idea. We'll take this. And hey, this came out during the 60s and so on and so forth. Like, I mean, that's essentially what Infinity War and Endgame was just, hey, we like the look of this thing. We like this idea. We like this. Let's do this. Like, it all works because there's people who are much more talented a lot of times than people expect working on this stuff.
Yeah, well, that's what Hickman's done and Morrison has done in the past in the comics. Like,
I love Hickman's brand of like, I'm gonna do this shit my way, chaos.
Well, that's a nice transition because I've started rereading Hoxpox, House of X, Powers of 10, and I forgot how much this is just like, oh no, all the shit that happened before in X-Men doesn't exist. Like
it's all like in that Moira X shit.
Yeah, and I mean, I don't know. I haven't read Inferno yet, and I haven't read Hellfire Gala either. So I'm not sure exactly how they would ever switch back to the original timeline. I mean, I know the X-Men are like rife with terrible timeline fuck ups here and there, and just even characters dying. It's for their entire history.
Gala is more just like a fun thing that's like set up for the X universe. The real sequel finale to all that is Inferno, and it's more because it's.
Yeah, please don't spoil anything because I'm super excited to read this.
Yeah, it's fucking awesome. Like I have it sitting on my shelf. Yeah, and like it does. It's not quite what Morrison did because when I compared to like Morrison's with Batman, where in his all those things happened, he just kind of tweaks them. And
he took the
to
idea
make
that
them fit
everything that ever happened in Batman's timeline in any version, like the movies, the TV show, all that. Yeah, that was the one Batman that's in his run, and that's how he made it work because he's a huge comic nerd. But like with X-Men, it's completely separate. It's completely separate from the original timeline.
He's doing it, but also like. That it's different. It's like, oh, this all happened to a person. There's one character that knows all this.
Okay.
And then passes that on to the others.
Yeah,
and because of how they do that, then those characters know those things.
Yeah. All right. Well, I don't want to have too much more of it spoiled, potentially.
No, I'm not like that's in Hoxpox.
Okay. Well, no, but I know with you having read Inferno and me having no idea what happens in it, I don't want to.
Oh no, I'm not saying anything from that. Like, no. What I'm saying is specifically from Hoxpox. Like when she goes and meets Xavier, she's like, "Go ahead, read my mind." And it's like, oh, she's the one that, and that's their explanation. And then now he, by doing that, has that.
I get that, but what I'm saying though is it fundamentally changes the X-Men's history. Like
Oh,
basically everything that's happening in this run of Hickman's era is excuse me, is a
It's-
completely new timeline.
it's kind of like a Heroes Reborn-ish.
Yeah, so it's a new timeline.
Yeah, but that they're which is why like there's not many crossovers with others yet. There's been very, very few.
Yeah, I don't know. It's really good though. I mean, it's
looking good.
daunting because it's a lot of books.
There's a lot of written word pages too, which is like a Hickman thing I don't love.
Oh, I think it's great. I think it's great.
I'm just I'm a terrible reader, so.
Well, I understand that, but like one of my favorite things about the original Watchmen that I feel is lost in everything else that has been done with Watchmen since is how much of that is just text. Like so much of it is just like, here's a document that the US government supposedly wrote about Dr. Manhattan. And that's the shit that I really love in that book because of the depth of world building that it gives you in a mini series. By doing that, you're able to get so much out of it that you would normally have. You would have it if this was a long running series. If this was the Charlton characters, you wouldn't necessarily need that. But the fact that they give it to you, and I think even decades later, I think it still reads extremely well. I think it's
and Hickman definitely bit off that because there are 100%. It's like these are files from like Beast to the Council. The best ones though are like what are they called?
The Sinister.
The Sinister. Yeah, and it's literally like Sinister's like burn book diary, and it is very fun. He's just talking shit. He's like, "Oh, they can't wait for this. I can't wait for the next thing."
Sinister is played like a a very fabulous drag queen in the Hickman run of X-Men.
I think that is the appropriate way you should have Sinister.
It is.
He's fucking glam.
He's still a genius geneticist, but
he's a diva. Goddamn, he's a diva. Like
he's great. He's great.
This is where Logan went wrong with Richard E. Grant as who was supposed to be Sinister, I believe. I'm not sure. I can't.
Well, he was teased in
everything.
No, there was one of the movies did have an ending about the Essex Corporation. Post credits. That was New Mutants. Okay.
I think it was both.
I think it was
because I watched them all.
It was Apocalypse, wasn't it?
Yes, and it's in Apocalypse, and it's also in New Mutants because when
New Mutants ties back to it, and it's like
because I can't. When she like types into the computer, it's to the Essex Corporation.
Yes, and it shows clips of the like children holding facility from Logan.
Yeah, because Apocalypse is that the people are collecting the blood, and it's the Essex Corporation, which is supposed to tie into Logan.
Yes,
that is the moment where they get the blood.
Oh no! What a shame we never got any of that in the Fox version of the X-Men. Such a goddamn shame. Would have been great. I'm sure he would have looked as good as Apocalypse did.
Right, and they would have brought in directors who were auteurs, and they would have made good films and bad films at the same time. None of this middle of the road business that we have to deal with now.
The one thing you can say about Fox is they were all about second chances. They let one guy who made a movie make that movie again. Still bad, but they did it again.
Yeah.
Fox, the company of second chances.
Well, how many second chances did they give to the
Bryan Singer?
director? Thank you. I couldn't remember.
I was gonna go broader to like even Fox News and shit, like fucking. I'm glad that I can't remember any of those cunts' names. But
no, like
those movies are too old for him now.
That's I'm curious what happened to Bryan Singer like after Queen, after the Queen movie he walked off of, like what is he
constantly being hunted by the FBI?
Like what is he doing at this point? Because I haven't heard shit.
And Giselle handed off a hard drive and he's hiding on an island.
Kevin Spacey exists in. Like we know they're around, but they're just Their
Well,
careers are
They're
dead.
literally together.
I'm not joking. He is being hunted. The last I heard, there are arrest warrants out for Bryan Singer. The last time that I read anything concrete about this, but nobody knows where he is exactly.
Thailand.
Probably. I mean,
if I'm gonna be like to what people go to, like what parts of the world, it's like usually it's like Philippines and Thailand.
Yeah,
it's probably hanging out with Kevin Spacey there because they're best buds.
No, well, that's what I wanted to get to was like Connor, you mentioning Kevin Spacey, like he'll still pop up in weird YouTube videos.
Yeah, completely
apparently
unwarranted and uninvited. He's like, "Hello, I'm Frank Underwood from House of Cards. Isn't this great?"
He'll put it out on like Thanksgiving and like 4th of July and shit and it's him in character.
Bring back House of Cards as an animated series. Oh wait, you canceled all those.
Right, and he like I guess he like makes like he like addresses what's going on. Like he addresses how the ending of House of Cards wasn't good or something like that. I never watched.
Yeah, I haven't watched any of them. I've just heard
want the
about
real
them.
truth. Listen to Q.
Right, it is stuff like that where he's like, "Don't worry, your president didn't die, and he wasn't replaced by his wife or whatever."
They're all pedophiles on the moon. I know. I'm there.
I'm here with my good friend Randy Quaid.
Oh.
Yeah,
is there like an island of misfit toys for canceled actors? Like,
yeah, that was
there's canceled actors, and then there's Spacey and Singer.
Yeah,
Spacey and Singer are living on Epstein's own island.
That's the thing. Like, so with Giselle being arrested and all that, I'm really wondering if she has been singing and they're just being quiet about it before they drop the ball on a whole bunch of people.
If that's the case, I can't wait.
I'm so excited. I mean,
yeah,
I'm bracing myself.
You know, shit's going down when they cut Prince Andrew out of shit. Yeah. When the royal family is having to make moves, you know shit's gonna happen.
Man, I gotta say, I'm glad he got brought up because, like, over the last 2 months, I took a dive into the royal family because their fucking existence fascinates me. That guy is like a top grade piece of shit. And like he goes well beyond the Epstein thing. Like he's an absolute bastard. And on top of that,
I'm stealing that adjective
about him that made my head spin. Like apparently him and who was it? Who's his fucking brother? William? No.
No.
Yeah, one of
Charles.
Yeah, Charles.
There's so many.
Yeah.
Apparently,
the Crown Prince.
Albert had just moved into Charles's bathroom, refused to leave.
Oh.
And then it got to the point where
Charles, who told the woman he was having an affair with, Charles?
That Charles. And apparently, like, it got so heated that they had to be like physically pulled apart because Albert's just like, my bathroom now, and Charles is like, no, Albert, my bathroom, and you know,
you say physically pulled apart, but it was probably like one private was like, fucking goddamn it, like, and just barely touching them.
Albert also has his own personal paid individual who comes and collects his urine whenever he has to take a drug test. One guy comes with a fucking cup and just stands there and lets Albert piss into it.
You know, you hear these stories. Yes, very. You hear these stories and you're like, I get it. I get why there are people that think that they're reptilians and shit, because it's like it's so fucking crazy.
Their scales are not because they're reptilians; it's the inbreeding.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But you're like, it's only one step removed. Actual real life details are so close to them being reptilian aliens. That you're like,
yes.
Right.
Yeah. It would make more sense if they were reptilian aliens.
Collect my discharge. Like what the?
Well, I mean, it's what happens when you let a very outdated mode of government continue to exist, even though they don't really have any control, but they do.
Because if we think about it, he is the second son of a woman who is queen because her father inherited the throne after his brother, who was a Nazi sympathizer, abdicated the throne to marry a divorced That's why he's famous and rich and can do all this. Like, it's
Albert is also
fucking-
buddies with a bunch of like Russian
Well, yeah.
businessmen.
Lashak.
And so like
everybody
he has
friends with
dealings with
Russians
all of them, and
somewhere.
like he's part of like the money laundering thing. And I guess like buys property and then sells it to these Russian oligarchs and these like ridiculous Russian businessmen.
I'm sure they also have no connection to Saudi Arabia and the
Oh, same thing. Yeah, the Saudi prince, his son has a house that Albert sold to him, or at least like they have connections to that. A bunch of shit like that.
No, did we just lose the elderly crowd?
I think we did. Oh, he's back.
Oh, our median age just dropped and rose.
What movie do you
You can't put an internal god down for too long. He'll just reemerge from the sands. Do we want to wrap or do we want to keep going? Either way.
Yeah, we could wrap. That's fine by me.
Pretty casual few weeks.
Yeah.
Not a whole lot going on except a rat died last week, so I'm still bummed out. I actually broke down his cage while we were talking because I can't stand looking at it anymore because it's the exact same way it was when he passed away, and I just haven't had the heart to go take everything out of it.
Also, Monster
I'm not trying to cry right
using
now.
it as a hiding spot as he continues to shit on your bed.
Okay, you know what? We'll close on that. I can't believe this shit. Okay, this little shit. I had my laundry.
This came up in our dinner conversation today. With my mother-in-law.
I have a laundry on my bed, and he comes in. I'm looking right at him, so he's fucking sleeping in the same spot he's shitting. He comes in and he's just being like super like just happy monster cat. Like I'm like, okay, but he's also been like, he's got like a plant in the house that makes him feel better. He's on drugs. Like he's feeling good. He comes in and he starts kneading on my laundry. I'm like, typical, whatever. Like 15 minutes later, I come back in, discover he took like a giant shit, like on two of my like my favorite shirts. They were on my bed.
He was literally making biscuits for you.
Yeah, he was making biscuits, and like I look, I'm like, Monster, you fucking asshole. And he gives me that, and then like, no, actually, I'm sorry. I didn't discover this. So I come back in, and he has crawled into Eobard's cage. And at first I'm like, that's fucking adorable. And even Dean said, he's like, that's cute. He's like, it's crappy, but it's cute. I'm like, I see what you did there. He's like, and the pictures I have are very cute. Like he's in there, he's looking around, he's got a big smile on his face. I'm like, and at first I'm like, man, like, because the animals have had reaction. Like Havoc comes in here all the time. He's looking for him. Can't find him. And it breaks my heart every time because he was in here with me the whole time when Eobard was passing away, and like when he was just on his last legs. And so he's been looking for him. He's like, "Where's the little guy?" I'm like, "He's not here." It's like, and he keeps searching the cage. He's putting his head all the way in the cage to find him. And he's moving the blankets and everything I had for him. It's just fucking heart wrenching. The monster crawls in. I'm like, that's adorable. And then I'm like, what the fuck is that? I look over and yeah, there's this big pile of shit in my bed. It gets better because I didn't tell you the rest of this part. Okay, so I clean the shit up. I take the clothes that he shit into the laundry room, put them in there, and then I come back in. I lay down in my bed. I'm like, why is my quilt wet? And I stand up and I smell. If you work in the veterinary field long enough, or if you ever had male cats, you smell it.
Yeah,
you smell it right away. Male cat piss. He pissed on my quilt and then found a spot on my bed, pissed on my boxers, and pissed on my sheets. Like, I don't know what the... Yep. I had been home for like an hour. He and I had exchanged a crossword. Not one interaction. He wanted to come to my room. Like, hey, sure, whatever. He comes to my room all the time. And like, I don't know what the fuck happened, but like, he took an entire day's worth of frustration out on me for some reason. The only time that's ever happened...
This is something that animals do.
Yeah.
This is something that they do.
The first time Ashley and Dean went away and I was house sitting for him, Tiger, who's Monster's dad, Stormy and Tiger are both here. That's Monster's mom and dad. Tiger comes in and I'm like, hey, what's up, Tiger? Keep my door open because like when I had Eobard, I kept the door closed because all the cat Chaos and Butters are like, what the fuck is that thing? And why do you keep petting it? So Tiger's in my room, and then I think I left to go get like food or something. I come back, Tiger has pissed and shit fucking everywhere, all over my bed. I was like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, "I'm here." I'm like, "I'm the one taking care of you the next 2 days."
It's a weird emotional expression that they do, and I don't fully understand it either. My brother has a very similar story of a cat that we had, which was a third generation hybrid cat, which we can get into that whole thing on another episode if you want to. But that cat really loved him, despite him being allergic to it. And one day it made it into his room, and it left him some gifts, and it left its weird. It's beyond regular cat piss because it being a hybrid. It's like it's like cat piss plus asparagus.
Like, male cat piss is the worst smelling urine in the world. Like, it is a foul stench, and once it gets in your face, you're like, Jesus.
Yeah. All cat pee is terrible, but this hybrid cat pee is like something I remember to this day. I smell other cat pee, and I'm like, that's like 5% of what this was. It's the worst thing. I don't know if any of you have ever even seen a hybrid cat. Connor, I assume you've run into one.
I deal with servals and shit. What are the other ones?
Right.
Bengals.
This was a third generation Bengal.
It's a fucking jungle cat.
Yeah,
it's also that its urine had a foul bouquet to it and a very pedestrian taste.
No, it's exactly the same thing where it's like when you try a wine that you've never had before from like a weird grape. It's the same thing.
What wine are you drinking? Jesus Christ,
I don't like that wine. Them grapes is weird.
Yeah, what aluminum can are you popping up?
No, Lou, I'm talking about when it's a variety that you've never had before, you don't have like a weird reaction to it. I have that all the time where it's like, I've never tried Grenache. That's a bad example, but you get what I mean. Like, it's a weird, obscure version of wine. I'm like, that is definitely wine.
You can't see my face.
Like any other wine that I've ever had.
I want you to imagine it. Just the one eye staring at you.
Okay, Lou.
I just when you said you have a weird when it has a weird effect on you, I envisioned you turning into the guy who fell into the vat in RoboCop. And you just
my skin starts to peel. Oh, kill me.
I do want to say I misunderstood Connor's whole thing, and I thought he was talking about something completely different when I said this came up at dinner. I thought he was referencing a court case that's happening when it came to shit in a bed.
No, it's very
comment on the picture. He's like, "So you changing his name to Amber?"
Yeah.
God.
All right. That is actually a good place to wrap. So,
rest in power, Eobard. He was the man on the wall protecting Rover's way.
I am very thankful I got 3 years out of him, and as agonizing as it was to watch him go, because I was with him the whole fucking time, and I keep underlining that phrase because when I say, like, George asked me, he's like, "What did you do in the meantime?" I was like, "What do you mean?" He's like, "What did you do while he was with you?" I was like, "I didn't do fucking anything." I was like, "I don't think you understand." I was like, "I couldn't leave him because every time I walked away from him, he tried to get out of the cage because the only thing he wanted, and he wasn't a rat left to be held. All he wanted from me was to hold him." And so I was like, this is absolutely it. Like, he knows it, I know it, and this is just a waiting game. And it was hours. It felt like 10 hours. And I think, Lou, you said something like, when your dogs died, it was like 20 years of crying came out.
Yeah. Oh.
This at some point, like, he's just, I can see him not comfortable. And it's like, that's when I was just like sobbing. I'm like, I am sorry you're going through this. Like, but you need to go. Like, just go. Like an hour later, he finally went. I put him down in the blankets, and he went. I'm thankful that I got 3 years out of him. And Ashley thinks it was like a blood clot or a tumor or something like that. Because I guess like with rats and rodents, like it is cancer that usually gets them. But my thing was like the Friday night before, like within an hour, he went from playful, taking food, drinking, to like hunched over and spacing out. I was like, "What's wrong?" I took him out of his cage, and then he was still drinking water. But the next morning, like he wasn't doing anything, and I was like, "Fuck, this is it."
I wonder if there's like a rupture or something, because that's what happened with Jersey, our dog, like he had a tumor and it ruptured.
Yeah, and like
So he
he
went from
couldn't
being
use, like,
fine to just like not
exactly,
eating.
and he couldn't use his back legs, and like he kept getting him stuck in the cage.
Yep.
So I had to take everything out of his cage and put in like I put in a sheet, I put in a top sheet in there with him. Like I'm like, this is the fanciest you'll ever sit. You know, I sent that picture to, and that's what Arlen said. Like he does not look good. He was in my childhood blanket and a top sheet, and I'm like, this is the most comfortable you'll ever be. So please just stay here. But like I said, he was the best little boy I could have asked for, and I will be getting another one. And my roommates almost got me like a degu. It's like a big fucking gerbil. I guess they're kind of similar to rats, but I was like, no, I'm a rat person now. Like this,
You're a rat boy.
Yes, this is it. Like, and I was cleaning out his cage, and like I'm gonna restructure it, like move everything around. I took everything out, took the wheel out, took everything out. And I'm gonna do it again, but I'm gonna do it better. So, and it's probably have a new one pretty soon. So.
And
this. He showed up on, he showed up on a couple episodes of Movie Dumpster. He was always in the background. I got him in a live stream once. He's popped up a couple episodes of this show, I think, because he's just constantly in the background. My only problem right now is it's deathly fucking quiet, and I can't stand it.
It's hard.
That was the biggest thing Melissa and I dealt with when our Saint Bernard died. Was like going from having a 140-pound dog traipsing around the house to having like a 60 or 70-pound husky.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just like,
this,
there's
like,
something really wrong here.
Yeah, and with this, like, I can't hear him moving, and like I don't hear him drinking, and like I just don't hear him do all the things he would do. So I'm like, ugh. So at night, like I have to find something to fall asleep to. I've been falling asleep to school wrestling and stuff like that.
It'll never be the same because even like we have Rose now, and like it's not the same. And I'm like, you have a relationship, especially if it's like, I think everyone here, it's like when you have your first, and Eric, who probably could speak to this, like me, like your first like grown-up pet, like when you're the grown-up, it's a big difference than when it's like the pet in your house when you're a kid.
Exactly. And like the pet I had when I was a kid, like I didn't go for either of those. I wasn't present for the euthanasias. And this, like, it was my first pet, and I was with him when he died, and that was a fucked up moment. I was like, because on one hand I was like, holy shit, he's gone. And like after I put him in a t-shirt, like I wrapped him up in one of my Dragon Gate t-shirts, which goes miles in saying how much he meant to me, because I got those shirts in Philadelphia at like a once in a lifetime show. But like when he was gone, I was like, fuck, I have nobody in here now. Like and Ashley and Dean were gone, so I was in the house like by myself. But I had the other animals, but like at the same time, I was like, I am so glad that ended when it did, because like another hour of that would have been fucking unbearable. Like he was just struggling to breathe at some point. So I'm glad he went with me. I'm glad I went to work and was like, I ain't fucking staying. Like
yeah, and like he waited till you got home, which like if you weren't home, that would have been brutal.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
No, and that's what I told him. I was like, I'm not going home later on at 5 o'clock to find that he's passed away. I'm like, because I'll never be able to forgive myself, and I'll be pissed the rest of you for not letting me go. Thankfully, like most people I talked to, pretty much everybody was like, wait, what's going on? I'm like, Eobard's like dying. They're like, what are you doing here? I was like, I don't know if I didn't know if I could pick up the phone and go like, can't come in, rat's on the deathbed. Like, I didn't know if there was an adult in that building who would have been like, are you fucking kidding me? I didn't know. So I went in for like an hour. I helped with treatments, then went home. It was the most stressful bus ride I've ever taken, because I was like, please be alive when I get home so I can just sit here with you for a few hours. But yeah, I took apart his cage like while we were talking. So now it kind of feels like the closure has set in, where it's like, all right, we're gonna do this.
The finality.
Yeah, the finality's finally set in. But I will say, like, Havoc's been great. Monster, jury's out on that one, because he fucking shit in my bed. But yeah, all of them stopped in. Like Tiger, his dad stopped in. He's
throw a bottle of vodka at him.
God damn it! All right.
He walked up and he bit the top of my finger off. And I went to a children's hospital, and I was like, I ate it. All right, but yeah, that's the
and then you were replaced by Mads Mikkelsen.
Yeah, and I was recast with Mads Mikkelsen. Honestly, can't complain.
Start texting the Vision.
Yeah, can't complain if I'm being recast with Mads Mikkelsen. That's great.
Yeah, just start texting Paul Bettany.
I want to see Monster snort something out of a tissue to help her cry more.
That was
like reverse blown
We
nose.
can talk about that like when this whole thing is over. 'Cause it's a fucking circus. I have to say, like, I know it's not a real house, but like, holy shit, what a weird ass trial it's been.
Yeah, it's the way that story has evolved over the years. It just keeps on going and changing, and yeah, very fascinating. All right, do any of the rest of us have plugs that we want to do?
I just wanted to encourage everyone to watch. If you haven't watched Ozark, watch it. Like the finale came out, or the second half of the last season came out recently. My wife and I binged it. It was really good. Under the Banner of Heaven is fucking phenomenal, and Andrew Garfield.
Find the Ozark?
What's that?
Did they find the Ozark?
Yes, they found the Ozark. Yes, they found the Ozark.
Yeah, they found the
and it killed all the Nazis when they opened it up. Under the Banner of Heaven is really fucking good. Andrew Garfield's great in it, and it's crazy to see this show that's based on a book that was a true story. See how crazy the Mormon religion is, and with some people. There was something else. I can't remember if it's We Run This City or We Own the City.
We Own the City.
We Own the City. If you want to see John Barenthal just destroying scenery with his acting, watch that show. He's so good in it. I haven't gotten to the second episode yet, but what I've seen of him in it is great, and the show just seems really interesting.
Saints of Newark.
Yeah,
Excuse me.
He is in that. Yeah, he is in that.
Yeah, I was not saying that randomly.
No, I have no interest in it. So.
It's not good.
Yeah. Okay.
Well, neither of us are Sopranos people. Eric, I'm assuming a lot there, but I assume
not. I watched it back when it was airing, but then I fell off before I finished the entire series. So.
Me over here, I lived that shit. The gabagool.
Right. Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. But yeah, like a very good Rex there from Eric. 5 hours of tremendous television altogether. Just
and
from Fresh.
Yes.
Yeah.
And
the dude
Outer.
from, the dude from a bunch of movies. Fuck me.
I was gonna say that is the most obtuse description of a human being.
Yeah.
No, he's in Wind River, and he's in the other one from the same director, Hell or High Water. He plays Andrew Garfield's partner. He's a native actor.
I didn't realize that. Okay.
Yeah, and he's so good.
I've been kind of tempted to rewatch Hell or High Water just because I love fucking the sheriff. What's his name? I can't remember the actor's name, but yeah, just the one part when they're driving to, I think, go arrest somebody, and he's like, "Yeah, put on some driving music," and something comes on. He's like, "Oh, good Lord, not that." And that's the end of the scene before they transition. Like Jeff Bridges. Jeff Bridges is phenomenal in Hell or High Water. Yeah.
Oh, the dude.
Yeah. But he's Jeff Bridges' partner.
What are you all talking about Jeffrey Morgan and Sam Worthington for?
No, it's similar though. Well, Sam Worthington in Under the Banner of Heaven, and it's real good. Worthington, he's real good in it. He's very good. He plays like the oldest brother of like a Mormon family, and he, as someone who grew up surrounded by the Mormon faith, it's
interesting.
There.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not the same way as it is in
so
Lake.
I will have my own story about the wild Mormons who pop up in the trails.
Oh, is your dad gonna wash your penis when you get to the temple?
Oh, wait, what
the fuck?
Yeah,
I heard that they upgraded the magic underwear recently.
Oh God.
Yeah, Connor.
I'm not even joking. That was a real story.
Yeah.
This is going to spin us off into another hour. There was a porn series called Mormon Girls and Mormon Boys with a Z.
Oh yeah.
Why do you know that?
No, you mean documentaries? There's a documentary series.
But
by that title,
they were both created.
The producers are brother and sister who left the church, who are both gay.
They're former Mormons. It's not far off, apparently, from things that they actually experienced. Apparently, like they're only like stretching it just a little bit, and just like one extra level removed from what actually happens. So
I wonder if
yeah,
that would pair well with the doc on the bombings, because I watched that like a couple weeks ago.
Yeah, the one that was on Netflix.
Yeah,
that doc pretty good. I was happy that like it was short. I feel like a lot of people just like take for
it was
granted
paced.
how much time you have. Yeah, exactly. Just
Speaking,
very
I watched a weird doc. I thought it would be more interesting. It was still interesting. It was on The Price is Right. That was on Netflix.
Oh yeah,
yeah.
that was really good.
I liked it. It was just like it like took a while to get to the big thing. I wish the big thing would have been earlier.
This is the most chaotic wrap up we've had since the Allen days, and I'm not angry about it. Anyway, my plugs. We are trying to finish up the Bond stuff for Los Haros, so go listen to Casino. Quantum is coming out sooner rather than later because we want to do it close to Casino because they're so intertwined, the two movies. So yeah, look forward to
Listen
that.
to the Die Another Day episode. I heard the guest is fucking awesome.
He is, but he talks for a very long time.
Arlen, at this point, you just need to get a soundboard so you can just have. We're trying to work on the Bond podcast as a sound drop.
I should just insert myself. Yeah.
By the time you finish, the next Bond will be out.
This is a joke that I made on off air to Eric. I was like, the next one will be announced. They'll announce an actor by the time we finish at this rate.
Yeah,
so.
I still say you're not done until you watch James Bond Jr.
Oh God, don't do that.
James Bond.
I didn't bring it up during the Casino Royale episode that there's a 50s Casino Royale where they made it Jimmy Bond, a CIA agent.
Isn't that the one isn't Woody Allen part of that?
No, that's the 60s movie. This is the movie that stars fuck. Okay, anyway, we got to get out of here because we'll do this forever. So
your James Bond podcast almost happened right now.
Bye everybody.
Watch Young Justice
Adios.
season 4. It's good.